Imagine being 12 years old, already having 30 bone fractures, and wondering, why can't I just play like other kids? I'm Leanne, and I was diagnosed with brittle bone disease. Now, I'm running the Bank of America Chicago Marathon for Lurie Children's, so every kid can just be a kid.
Join Bank of America in supporting Leanne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportLeanne. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation.
Today we're gonna conquer your EV phobia in the all-electric Toyota BZ.
I can do this. I'm doing it!
One drive can change your mind in the all-electric BZ. Toyota, let's go places.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You know what today is, right? It's Wednesday. Yeah. Chalk up those W's, fly the W's. Thanks for everybody for watching. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, wherever else how you get this. We appreciate it. As always, from my NFC North gang, B. Foster coming from Detroit. Say hello to everybody, B. Foster.
How y'all doing? B. Foster, one half of Bleachers to Speakers. Happy to be here.
Dave.
Foster and his enthusiastic welcomes. Hey, it's Dave Stefano for Vikings First and Skull, and I am happy to be here.
As always, I think we're all happy to be here, even though Foster is a little more reserved today. It's hard to keep that type of energy day in and day out when you're sipping all that Honolulu Blue. Even the sugar wears off from time to time. I get you, Foster. I understand the plight you have. But I don't want to dilly-dally too much. Hate that word, don't you? Let's get right into the thick of it. Dave, take a seat, man. Lean back, relax, as you did all of week 6 as your team was on a bye. So, Foster, we got something to talk about. Plus 2.5 point dog. We all thought that was trash. The way the Kansas City Chiefs have been playing, the way the Detroit Lions came into that week as arguably the best team in the league. Did it play out that way?
No, it was kind of a peculiar game. I mean, first and foremost, we were down our top 3 corners: DJ Reed, Terrion Arnold, as well as Avonte Maddox. So we knew that Kansas City certainly had some weapons. Patrick Mahomes is a very elite quarterback, so it was going to be a tough game. We were going to have to put our best foot forward and make minimal mistakes. Because not only are we playing in enemy territory in Kansas City, which is a very tough arena to play, but we were up against it with the officials as well. There were a couple questionable calls. There was certainly some controversy early on. The Lions went right down, had another trick play involving David Montgomery, where he lined up behind the center, took a direct snap, and this time threw it to Jared Goff on the side, and he kind of, dropped it and kind of stumbled and bumbled in the end zone. The call, at first it went to the officials and they, lied and said that it didn't go to New York. We find out later it did go to New York. But, they stepped in and said that Goff did not pause and establish himself as a receiver. So eventually the play was called back. I think we had a delay of game after that, and we had to settle for 3 points. So that was early in the game. Fair enough. But there were several calls throughout the game, including a questionable pass interference at the end towards the end of the second half. I'm involving Rock Yassin and Travis Kelce. Ultimately, we ended up on the raw end of the deal. Amon-Ra St. Brown had, dropped a ball that, 99 times out of 100 he would have caught to keep the drive going on fourth down, and it just didn't seem to be our day. By the time we got to the third quarter, we were down by 10 points, and we somewhat abandoned the run. So we were all out of sorts, and Patrick Mahomes was able to convert on his opportunities, and they ended up beating us 30-17, I believe.
Yeah, but even though the Detroit Lions took the L, Brian Branch got a win though, right?
Yeah. So, like I said, we are down 3 corners, and we will now be down in an additional secondary member, Brian Branch, who took exception. I guess he was Juju Smith-Schuster had been taking some cheap shots during the game, and so when Patrick Mahomes went to shake his hand, he kind of snubbed him off. Smith-Schuster had some things to say to him, so he kind of walked up on him, mushed him. I think Isaac Pacheco stepped in front of him, and so after Smith-Schuster did his little flop job, he said, "Oh, I should probably get a lick back." But that didn't end too well. Branch was able to get a hold of him from behind Isaac Pacheco and swing him around like a little rag doll. So the picture of him laying in disarray with his helmet off, nose bloody, and cap, waving a fro to and fro. It was a mess for him. I'm sure he was very embarrassed. Looked like there might have been tears in his eyes. But I don't want to big that up. Branch, if you're gonna take some aggression out, take it out in between the lines during the confines of the game. Don't handle your business in the midst of the game, because it's going to cost you. He's been known to be a little bit of a fireball, a little hard-headed. He's was throwing Chicago Bears helmets, and when he had that targeting penalty in Green Bay last year, he kind of flipped the birds to the crowd. So he's a bit of a firecracker, but he needs to hone that in. Dan Campbell said, "I love Brian Branch, but we're not gonna do this." And me, as a fellow Brian, yes, my name is Brian. We're talented, but sometimes we got to learn the hard way, and that is what he's dealing with.
Where is Von Bell when you need him? Indeed. That fight, the game, in my opinion, it wasn't all that exciting. I think Kansas City took the air out of the ball very early, and Detroit didn't have a lot of answers. However, that fight post game, that had the frustrated Chicago sports fan chat. We was going back and forth about that because I was defending Brian. I was like, "Hey, you know what? They're football players. Sometimes things got to be dealt with violence." I had no issues. Some other people on the channel, they felt like Brian needs to be suspended half the season. I said, "All right, you know what? You're not a football fan. Get out of here. Get out of here." Dave, what were you thinking about this guy as you was on mini vacation?
Well, first off, I think Branch will probably get suspended 1 game, but that's about it. What I found remarkable was that the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs had 0 penalties called against them.
Man,
I found that interesting, huh? That was interesting.
It was quite interesting. It's the word I'd use.
Dave, before you keep going, would you find it even more interesting that has happened for the Kansas City Chiefs 3 times in the last 6 years?
Wow. They've got to be the most disciplined team I've ever seen.
Coaching, right?
That's one way to put it.
But it is, if it was remarkable, and that the NFL puts up with that is BS. But I wish they'd do that for the Vikings.
Be nice.
Now, there you are.
Yeah, I would love for the NFL to spread some of that love around, especially because, again, us in Chicago, we have a little brother syndrome sometimes. We don't feel like we get enough love. And if you listen to the last game review from our Monday night revenge, like many rivalry we have going on with the Commanders, you will hear that very much so, because we getting tired of not giving our propers. Speaking of this, so the Bears, Monday Night Football, 4th game in 4 years against those DC Commandos. We got our licks back. We got our lick back, and the game ended on a unclutch turnover of sorts for the Commanders, and which gave the Bears the win. Some would say they fumbled the game away. You're welcome. I'm here all week. So it serves them right. They won the game last year on some fluke, and the Bears were the beneficiaries of a play that you don't necessarily see Jaden Daniels and the rest of the team make often as well. However, they turned the ball over 3 times. You're not going to win too many games turning the ball over 3 times. The Bears did not turn the ball over once. They were the more aggressive team on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. They ran the ball with intention they got off the bus with that in mind, and something they haven't done all season, they stopped the run. The preview episode going into this game that we did on the channel, I gave the line to my co-host Tiff and Q. I said over under 125.5, the Commanders will run against the Bears defense. Q went over. Me and Tiff was like, it's gonna be close. We think Jacory, whatever, the law firm, the law firm that runs the ball for the Commanders. We think he's going to get 75, 80 yards easily. He just wakes up in the morning, rolls out of bed, 80 yards easily. That's just what the Bears do. Yeah, 60 yards. And as a team, the Commanders got 124. I am a great odds maker. I need to go to Vegas. But the Bears did exactly what the thing. Game ball to Darnell Wright. He played one hell of a game. If that's how he going to play with the UCL tear, Foster, how do you fix a UCL tear?
Mm-hmm. Say that.
Tommy John Foster. That's how you fix it.
UCL. Yeah. You're right.
He has an injury that ends the season for pitchers. If that's how he's going to play with the UCL tear, go ahead and tear the other one. Tear the other elbow too, because he looked like a Pro Bowler on Monday. Game ball to him. Game ball to Mr. Moody. Called up in the practice squad after being dismissed from the San Francisco 49ers. Hit 4 field goals, including the game-winning one in inclement weather. That takes stones. Big stones. Can't ignore that at all, even for a kicker. DeAndre Swift, one of his best games of his career. He, again, ran with the ball with intention. The offensive line was amazing. Theo Benedict become the new starting left tackle for the Chicago Bears. I already said Darnell Wright, probably his best game of his career up to this point. With the chunky arm brace on. Caleb Williams, not his best day, but he didn't have a terrible day. I think the thing Bears fans could take away from this game that they can feel warm with is that the Bears won a game in which their quarterback was not close to great. And that's a perfect way that's the telltale sign of how you start to become a good team. Now, I'm not ready to call the Bears a good team yet, but we talked about this ad nauseum during this summer as the Bears were putting together their coaching staff. You have to unlearn bad habits before you can start putting in those good habits. The Bears had shown a lot of bad habits in the first two weeks of the season. Last 3 weeks, winning games that they had that last year they would have lost easily. Found a way to have that gumption, have that perseverance, and stick to itiveness to come back under the fire and come back and win. They were down 8 points in the fourth quarter against the Commanders. Guys, the Bears were 0 for the last 28 in instances in which they were down 8 or more in the fourth quarter. This team, they got something. They got something. They gonna keep building. But right now, I like what they're showing right now, and it is about damn time.
Sure. If you were that, you had to have been worried towards the end.
Of course, it was a very dramatic game there, Dave. The Commanders had the ball with 3 minutes to go. They had all their timeouts. We needed to stop, and I was worried about, is there going to be a way that can the Bears get a stop? I mean, if you put a percentage on it, I felt like the Bears had a decent enough chance to get the ball back, and Caleb has been pretty good in his career in situations in which he has the game-winning drive, a situation in which he can either tie the game or win the game in the last 4 minutes of a game. He's been pretty good in his short career in that situation. I felt like the Bears could get the ball back, just based on how the game had been flowing at that time. The Commanders, I think they've had they got 4 of their first downs. I'm blanking on the number. I think it was like 15 total first downs for the game. 4 of them became off of Bears penalties. So they wasn't really moving the ball too much on the Bears on their own. They were gifted some. It was getting some gifts from the Bears and the refs. Ooh, boy, that ref and that ref crew, not good. Not good. And I'm not saying that because they took a touchdown off the board from my boy Roma Dunze. I'm not saying that because that's how I lost my SGP. It's not that. It's not that. I just feel like they had some curious calls. But yeah, I felt like that was a very good game. We talked about that game ad nauseum when the schedule dropped. Like, hey, this game is getting circled. It ain't the Super Bowl, but it's damn close. It's damn close because we got some demons to get out of our system in DC. In fact, to this point, don't even call it District of Columbia anymore. District of Chicago sounds better.
For my viewers and listeners, who is Jake Moody and why was he in there kicking 4 field goals for you guys?
Well, Cairo Santos, the Bears' normal kicker, he was a late scratch due to an injury. Jake Moody was our practice squad kicker if he doesn't get snatched up by another team. He, as I said earlier, he was a pretty prominent college football kicker, if I'm not mistaken, right? He was drafted to the San Francisco 49ers. He was there for a while. He got cut not too long ago after having some trouble with his accuracy, and now he's with the Bears hitting walk-off field goals. You gotta love it.
Well, there was one more game in the division.
Yes, let's get to that game. So the 2-2 Packers had walked into I'm blanking on the team that they beat just recently. The Cleveland Browns. Cincinnati Bengals, I'm sorry. Was it Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, they played
the 2-2 Pack. Right. Cleveland, the 2-2 Packers went to Cincinnati to play the Bengals with their newfound quarterback, Joe Flacco.
1-1.
No. 2-2. For those that don't know, if you lose to the Browns, that is a loss. That is a loss. That is more than one loss, to be honest with you. And if you and if you give up 40 to the Cowboys, that is a loss. No, I don't care what the final score was. You lost that game. They got two losses. Now, all 4 teams in the division have 2 losses. Just want to make that point clear. Packers, I don't care about tie. Get that out of here. You lost that game. Now, they played the Bengals on Sunday. Newfound quarterback Joe Flacco, who they're trying to avenge an earlier loss to when he was with the Browns. The one thing that I found curious is that Cincinnati thought so highly of Joe Flacco, or maybe they felt so lowly of Jake Browning, is that they could bring in Flacco on Wednesday and start him on Sunday just because they don't have any confidence. They're just playing the Packers. I mean, they ain't tough. Just the Packers. But they did win that game. I think it was, 31-18? Was that the final score?
27-18.
27-18. The little bit I watched of that game, it should have been a lot. The margin should have been a lot more. I was a little surprised that the Packers didn't do a lot more to stifle that offense. But Joe Flacco, he gets rid of the ball quick. He doesn't really test the corners deep, but he was making sure the ball, getting the ball out, trying to hit those, get to the sticks, something like that. It kept the pass rush for the Packers off balance. That was what I took from it. So, did you all see anything different in that game?
I did. I saw Joe Flacco struggle in the first half and then get settled in and then make a game of it in the second half. And if he played that way in the first half, I think the Bengals may have won it. But like you said, he came in on Wednesday and started on Sunday. He was just learning who all's there. What's your name? You're stepping the ball to me type of deal. And I thought it was a good game. I was obviously rooting for the Bengals. Yes, Tim, I was rooting for your team. But the Bengals defense did them no favors when the Packers put up 409 yards total offense with 259 of them passing. Just none. If you could have asked for the Bengals defense to step up, I think the Bengals could have pulled that one out, even with Joe taking to the second half to get settled in.
It sounds like we say the same thing there, Dave. Packers, ass. What did you think, Foster?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like Dave said, I mean, you would have imagined that there would be a little bit of an adjustment period with them getting traded in the middle of the week. The funniest thing to me was the interview that Jake Browning had when Joe Flacco first got there, where they kind of talked about him, losing his job, and Joe Flacco's lived the next locker over, and he kind of gives a little side eye, like, just took my job. I was certainly hoping for a better fortune for the Bengals, but the Bengals do as they do.
Unfortunately, because I do think the Bengals are a very talented team, at least on offense, but they just can't seem to always get everything as far as injuries to go in their favor. Unfortunate for them. How about this, fellas? About 20 minutes in, let's take a deep breath, come back, and let's talk about moving on to week 7, because we all got a game in week 7, right? Foster, do you know when your bye week is?
Next week.
All right, there we go. Well, if you're watching live, stay seated. We'll be right back.
Need a Garrett's popcorn break.
Week 7. Who do you all play in week 7 there, Dave?
We play the Philadelphia Eagles in Minnesota. The defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles in Minnesota.
Now, Dave, I feel you already know this because I've watched your show at the Vikings First and Skull. Everybody that's watching, make sure you check out that wonderful channel. It is a very well done channel for one of our division foes turned friends. I know you all have circled the wagons on this. The Philadelphia Eagles offense versus the Minnesota Vikings defense. Blood in the water, am I right?
Oh, it definitely is going to be. The question is, can we stop their run game? We can stop their passing game. That I'm not worried about. It's the run game. But we are getting 2 of our star players look to be back and playing. And Blake Cashman, our best middle linebacker, and Andrew Van Ginkel, our all-pro outside linebacker, will be ready for this game. And having both of those guys back will help against the run. And I think the defense can hold against the Eagles.
Now, you haven't heard any of the chirping, bird pun, that been coming from the Philadelphia Eagles on their offensive struggles. It seems like we've been down this road with that team before. A.J. Brown not getting involved in the offense the way he likes. And Devontae Smith, too. A.J. with his cryptic social media activity, probably reading more books on the sideline. Saquon Barkley saying we're having player-only meetings, and, other people's coming back and saying, no, we didn't, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. You're lying. It's a lot of stuff going on. I I think it's prime opportunity for you all to take advantage of that, Dave.
I agree. I fully agree. This is the time with the Eagles being in the condition they are, and they have a bunch of injuries to their secondary. This is a prime time and to take advantage of them on top of all the angst that seems to be happening in behind the scenes in the locker room, everywhere else. And it usually does happen to Super Bowl winners. That next year is when they sort of implode. And I think we're seeing the continuation of that. It's going to foster and get worse. No offense there, Foster. And I think the Vikings are in perfect position to take advantage of it. Question is, who are we going to play at quarterback?
Ooh, you see, we've been doing this show. This is our third season doing this show. We're playing off each other well. You know, it's like LeBron and D Wade. You already knew where I was going to pass the ball. So it's a mid-season quasi quarterback controversy, Dave. I know you threw water on it last week, but why? For the life of me, I don't understand this. But maybe you understand it better than me because you're watching closer than I. But why is there a conversation about sticking with Carson Wentz?
Well, because first off, J.J. McCarthy's still, recovering from his high ankle sprain, which usually takes 4 to 6 weeks. He's right at the 4-week point-ish. And Carson Wentz won 2 out of the 3 games he's played. But I don't think there is much of a controversy. Now, Carson Wentz has also got a bum left shoulder, his non-throwing shoulder. They both were at practice today. Carson Wentz was in the sling in his shoulder, still working out. JJ was seen stretching his calf. It's going to be interesting to see who Kevin O'Connell selects to run the team. Now, during his press conference, both on Monday and today, he said he's given reps to both quarterbacks. So I don't know. They're both going to be on the injury report some way, somehow, I would guess. I haven't seen it come out yet today. Who knows? We may even get Max Brosmer, our number 3 quarterback, to play.
Who?
Max Brosmer. He was a quarterback for the Minnesota Fighting Gophers.
So your third quarterback isn't a reclamation project this time around. It's just a young guy. You guys are out of the rebuilding quarterback business for the time being. I got you.
For the time being, we've done real well in that business.
We would appreciate it if you stop.
There's a whole lot of discussion if J.J. McCarthy doesn't work out, that we should go back into that business and just scoop up second-generation quarterbacks.
Yeah, because we need more Darnolds and Danny Joneses out there and with MVP considerations. More on that later. I got a question from the live chat. Peter wants to know who's going to be the center.
Great question. Whether it's going to be Juergens or if it's going to be Blake Brandel. And I don't know. I listened to KOC in his presser today. He was asked that question, and he sort of hemmed and hawed and did the normal political head coach thing where he says a whole lot of nothing. I don't know. I'd like to see Blake Brandel get another game at it. But Peter, I do not know.
Well, the injury report will definitely be the tale. The first injury report usually comes out on Thursdays. What time is the game this week, Dave?
It's Sunday at noon. First injury report should be out today.
Yes, you're right. Let's move on over to Monday Night Football. This time around, you guys are back on prime time. Just see how that goes when you're highly in demand. So, Foster, I think I don't know if I want to call them the best team in the NFL. I don't think they are the best teams in the NFL right now because everything's so scrambled and jumbled up. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are one of my favorite teams to watch right now, especially in that late window. Baker puts on a show. I think it's going to be very interesting to see him on Monday Night Football if he can put on a show with how many DBs are you going to be down?
What? As of now, we got to check the injury report, but as of now, we are down probably more than 3, but our top. Well, no, not top 3 because Amik Robertson, I don't think was probably ahead of Avonte Maddox. But right now we are down 3 active corners.
Well, I mean, you might not necessarily need them because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're probably more injured than the Detroit Lions right now. I think they came into their last game with 3/5 of their opening day offensive line out, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin didn't play. Emeka Ibuka, who's probably the offensive rookie of the year at this point. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they didn't play, but Emeka Ibuka, he left early with a hamstring injury. We don't know if he is going to play as of right now. And Bucky Irvin, who should be a Chicago Bear. I'm not going to dwell on that too much right now, though. Bucky Irvin, he's missed the last 2 games. Foster, scale of 1 to 5. How confident are you that you all get back on the winning horse on Monday Night Football?
Honestly, I'm at a 3.5. We are at home, which is good. Tampa Bay is a team that seems to be. It feels like we're back in the old division where we play Warren Sapp and all them every year, because we see them in the playoffs or we see them once a year. So it's a team that's very familiar with us. But right now, they seem to be making the best with not as much. I mean, they're 5-1 right now, and their defense isn't particularly well, but I mean, it doesn't rank particularly high, but they were able to take down San Francisco, who of course didn't have Brock Purdy, but they're still making it do what it do. As far as I'd like to use the outline of last year to kind of preview this game where the Lions outpassed, outran, controlled the time of possession. They just were not able to punch it in in the red zone. They had 3 field goals in the game, and Jared Goff it got intercepted 2 separate times. Realistically, we kind of wore them out at home. We also had 5 sacks, 3 of which from Aiden Hutchinson. So all things would have suggested that we would have been in control of that game, but did not take care of the ball, and they were very, very defiant within the red zone. This year they have not been as good, and that's been their Achilles heel thus far, has been their red zone play. So I hope that we can take advantage of that. And one thing that has been a reoccurring theme for us is that when we control the turnover differential, we have won. And the Green Bay Packers, we did not turn that team over. So I'm hoping that the magic run that Baker Mayfield is on is runs out this week, and we can go into the bye week a little bit, with some momentum and hopefully healthy on the other end of that. Dan Campbell said that Aleem McNeil will be making his debut. Obviously, Brian Branch, is suspended, but we should look a little bit more healthy on the other end. He said that Marcus Davenport's window is open and he may be available to come back as well. So we will have to see.
Back to get injured again.
Yeah, I mean I have nothing to say. We also signed Kendall Fuller at cornerback, so to this practice squad. So I don't know if he'll be active this week, but he's actually pretty solid. He's a 9-year vet, and he's not far removed from being a top cover corner. I think he was on our radar a couple of years ago when we went out and got Carlton Davis. He was a guy that we were looking at. So don't know if we'll see him this week, but I'm glad that we are at least attempting to shore up that side of things, because we are struggling.
All right, 3.5. You put your confidence level at that is the most B. Foster answer that we can ever expect. Even kill, not on either side. I'm going straight down the middle, right? All right. Shout out to Foster in the comments, though, reminding me that this is an old school NFC Central matchup. It's still warm, so Tampa Bay is usually good when it's still warm. It's December when everybody gets to beat up on them. If you remember back in the old days before they got kicked out of the division, the Bears are going for their 4th win in a row. They come back home to play the New Orleans Saints. Noon on Sunday, Dennis Allen's former team that he coached last season, well, I think the last 3 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, I expect that to be a rout. The Bears, they won 3 in a row. They're over 500. They are not in a position to start smelling their farts again. We know, all of Bears fans know, watching the show, we know this team, they have the penchant to smell their farts. I am expecting Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen, and the rest of the coaching staff, Al Harris and the rest, to keep them grounded, keep them understanding that the job isn't over. Keep the main thing, as we say. They have no reason to fall into a trap game situation. New Orleans, as bad as they've been, Rattler only has 1 career win as an NFL quarterback. Let's not take them for granted. Let's not sleepwalk through this game. Let's go out there and handle business. Go out there and, as somebody in the live chat said, we got let me make sure I put that back on the screen. Let's go out there and actually dominate a game. Let's win this game instead of being, depending on becoming fortunate. Do the same thing we did to Dallas Cowboys. Go out there and strangle the team from beginning to end and take the game by force instead of having to, put my heart in a dangerous situation. Don't need that. The New Orleans Saints don't do anything well. Not offense, not defense. They don't run the ball as well as they used to when they had prime Kamara. I already said Spencer Rattler has 1 career win. He beat the Giants earlier this season. Yeah, Giants who's probably the surprise of the league. I don't know. The Colts might be the surprise of the league this season, or it was the Bears. But yeah, I don't. It shouldn't be easy. If this game is any close, I haven't looked at the lines yet, and which is bad because we do have a gambler show coming on right after this. Check that out on First for the Chicago Sports Fan Channel. I haven't looked at the line yet, but if the line is any closer than 9.5 in the Bears' favor, that would signal some type of concern. I don't think the way the Bears are trending that they should be in any type of stratosphere with the New Orleans Saints. Let's continue to build on the good vibes. You stack good days on top of good days. The only thing the Bears need to continue to work on is getting those penalties down. Let's continue to not beat ourselves. And that's how you don't want to end up having that end up costing you a game one of these days. So hopefully we can go out of this game, keep everybody healthy, win the game easily, and then move on to our version of the AFC North. Because I think the Bears are the only team in this division that hasn't played an AFC North team, right? And on the opposite side, and I'm not looking ahead. I just want to get through this game easily, win easily, stay healthy. Caleb looked good. Swift looked good. Offensive line looked good. Defense do what they're supposed to do. Maybe another 1 or 2 takeaways. Let's do that. Let's handle that business, and then we can start getting to the meat of that schedule where we had thought like this is going to be proving ground for this team this season. When the schedule came out, we said week 8, week 9, so on and so forth, all the way to week 12. That's when we're going to figure out what kind of team this is, and let's do what we got to do. Dave, you had something you wanted to get off your chest.
Well, your 9-point favorite is way off. You're only favored by 5 at home.
I haven't put my money in yet, so it'll go up.
The Saints have been keeping games relatively close.
They have.
They blew their ethical tank already with the 1 win. Are they going to get a second one? Is my question.
Are they going to get a second win at some point this season? Won't be this week.
I find it interesting. I won't be able to watch because I'll be watching my game at the same time, both at noon. But it's going to be interesting to see how your team does against those Saints, especially after coming off that emotional win against the Commies.
You're not far off, Dave. Emotional, being a professional sports, a professional athlete, sorry, it is a balance of keeping those emotions in check, because they go here to here. You have a big game. As I know the Bears fans what they only want. That game was circled for the players too, because the season effectively ended when they lost to the Commanders last season. So I know everybody had, everybody's thinking like, yeah, we got to get back. We got to show them that they got lucky. And, they did what they're supposed to do. They won the game.
But failed Mary will endure forever.
Maybe for those outside the city. We putting that behind us now. We got that out. We got that off us. We are good now. It's like a football exorcism happened Monday. We are cleansed of that stink. But as Foster,
the Vikings are the Drew Pearson push-off.
Oh shit! Y'all still talk about that?
Oh yes, and it's the invention of the Hail Mary. Yes, we talk about it.
Foster, what team did Drew Pearson play for? Hurry.
Way before you were even a sparkle in your daddy's eyes.
Cowboys. But, you're muted. So, yeah, I know you said the right team. But as Foster in the comments pointed out, one thing that we do want to work on in this game, and I want to see a lot more is Caleb Williams' accuracy. If you watch the the review that we did of the game, that was one of my bads I had coming out of this game, his accuracy. If you watch the game, they pointed out very early that he has the most off-target passes in the NFL. And there was a lot of off-target passes in this game as well. There was some passes where it was high, a lot of passes behind. There was one pass in particular in which he threw the ball to Zacchaeus. He expected him he was trying to lead him, but when Zacchaeus sat down in the zone, it was a lot of stuff like that. He missed Rome on a couple of occasions in which Rome was butt naked open. He threw the ball to Rome in which he was double covered, underthrew Rome. Caleb is doing a lot of things better this year. We just need him to pull it all together. The accuracy can be a lot better from the standpoint of where he has with his talents. He's got a deep bag. So we want to make sure that he's be able to he gets into the rhythm where he can just be his unapologetic self from the pocket, because he's getting a lot more time to operate out of the pocket versus what he had last year. I think he's getting more than 3 seconds now, especially with the upgraded left tackle with Theo over Braxton. Speaking of Braxton, are either one of you all in the market for a left tackle? Just I might know a guy that's selling left tackle if you are interested. Niche was a BJ, just in case. All right.
He had it right in the comments, thanking for the Hail Mary for getting Ben Johnson.
Oh, I don't think that was what led to Ben Johnson.
It started the losing streak.
It did. It started the losing streak. But the way Ben Johnson had whipped on Eberflus's defense time after time again, and then what he did, Eberflus helped out on Thanksgiving too. A lot of things happened. Well, after the failed Mary, then we didn't show up in Arizona. Then we didn't show up against New England. A lot of people, we can thank a lot of people for having Ben Johnson as our coach now. And most importantly, we could thank Eberflus for being himself. All right, as we closing up this episode, thanks everybody for watching. So make sure you subscribe everywhere you get your podcast, YouTube. Everything is on YouTube from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel, as well as my guys from the NFC North. Check them out too. Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions. They do great work over there as well. Let's talk about greater NFL storylines real quick. So don't I always skip the Packers? Yeah, forget about them. If they were in my face, I would remember them more so. But I've been forgetting Wisconsin's a part of the union. But yes, the Green Bay Packers are playing the Arizona Cardinals this week. I don't know if Kyler Murray's going to be back. Has anybody heard?
I have not.
If he's back, I'm giving them a puncher's chance. But I don't know. Brissett. I'm sorry. Jacoby Brissett he had a game, a pretty good game last week. In fact, he had a game that Kyler Murray hasn't had in almost 3 seasons. He had multiple touchdowns, 30 yards, I believe. Kyler Murray hasn't done that, like I said, in almost 3 seasons. So, do I think Jacoby can repeat that against the Packers? I don't. But Kyler, put the sticks down. Your job might be in jeopardy. And just throwing it out there. You guys, scale of 1 to 5. How confident do you think the Cards could pull off this win?
I'd give them a 2, but it's possible. hey, we all know that Green Bay can have one of their bad games. And hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, because Jordan Love is he's so inconsistent, man. And I'm coming from a guy whose quarterback has shown flashes of inconsistency, but Jordan Love, for as much as he gets paid, you got to be a lot more inconsistent than what he's shown so far in his short career.
Well, maybe Kyler's keeping Jordan up late playing Call of Duty, and then Brissett comes in and wins the game.
I like that. That's a very good. I like that. You know what? If Martin Scorsese was watching football, he would call that cinema. I would like to see the Arizona Cardinals, as everybody. Everybody would love to see the Arizona Cardinals go ahead and beat the Packers so they can fall to 500, be the only team without a losing record in the division. That would be poetic. However, if I was putting money on it, I would push away from the table. I would not bet it at all.
The Packers are favored by 6.5.
Yeah, they were favored by 14 last week. They didn't cover. So I wouldn't put too much stock in their how much of a favorite they are. You know what? Because Green Bay always disappoints. So as this being an NFC North show and the best division in the NFL 2 years running, if I told you all the best division in the AFC was not the AFC North, it's actually the AFC South, how shocked would you be?
I'd be quite shocked.
Especially since they still have the Tennessee Titans, and they're awful.
Ass. As Cam Ward said, ass. Coming into the season, obviously Tennessee Titans, number one pick, very bad team, and still a bad team. You expect that. You had Danny Jones and Anthony Richardson fighting for QB1 in Indianapolis. Didn't think that was going to work out, in any typical favor. You got I'm thinking on the other team. Oh, the AFC South. Jacksonville. I'm thinking of the other team. Jacksonville. He was like, I think we were done with the whole Trevor Lawrence experiment, and because I don't know what to get out of this. However, now 6 weeks in, Jacksonville winning record. Indianapolis Colts might be best team in the league. Might be. Don't know. And then on the AFC North, on the flip side, Baltimore, 1 win. Cincinnati still it was without Joe Burrow again, so there's a ceiling on what they're going to do. And there's Cleveland, obviously. Cleveland is they're only good for 4 wins a year. And then there's the Pittsburgh Steelers, who wins all their games in September and October. And then the calendar switches. So, how shocking is that to you? Is that the AFC South is now kind of the power over there in that conference? And I'm in the comments they're telling me no, it's the AFC West actually. I would debate it.
Well, I mean, injuries. We all know how injuries can swing things. Obviously, you got Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson out right now. So that is, that's gonna place some influence on how well the team plays as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the Colts, what was the other one? Jaguars. They got some talent over there. Who else is over there? Tennessee's not good, and then you got who's the fourth? Is the Panthers the fourth team over there? Is that the AFC or is it the NFC? No, that's the
Panthers are NFC.
So it's the Titans, Colts,
Houston Tech.
Well, the Texans, yeah, can never sleep on
They are a very, very sneaky mid team.
Yeah, that's Texans. Why I couldn't think of. I'm like, who is it? Yeah, they got some talent on their defense. I don't know what to make of the quarterback. Stroud's, he's cool.
We talked about MVPs earlier, and with this conversation about the Indianapolis Colts, where would you put Danny Jones, your former quarterback there, Dave? Where would you put him in your MVP ladder so far, 6 weeks into the season?
That's a great question. He'd be top 10 so far because he's winning.
Right.
10. Ooh, I can't think of. Well, I know Baker's in the conversation, obviously. Yeah. That's why I got him. I've looked at the odds. I know who's the favorite right now to win MVP, and I disagree strongly. I think that is just namesake value. I would have
the best quarterback right now by rating and by record is Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I would have Sam Darnold in the MVP conversation. I have Baker. Obviously, I have Baker number one with a bullet.
Shouldn't say
I have
you're 4-2, but
and I've got Danny Dimes right there MVP conversation. Those three. It's hard for me to make an argument for anybody past those three.
Jared Goff has got 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and has a 120 QB rating. Just quietly at 4-2. Maybe if he had knocked off the Chiefs, how could you argue that one?
If he had knocked off
I haven't watched
in the Zebras, yes,
You're right. Yeah, both of them. But yeah, I haven't watched a down of the Colts, so I have no idea what he's doing over there. But they're winning. No doubt.
They're winning, and some people, the argument against them would be, I think the Jonathan Taylor is probably carrying the lion's share of the brunt for their winning record. Yeah, I mean, it's something to think of. Now, on the flip side of this, we're talking about teams that are winning, guys in the MVP conversation. Who's got a bigger concern so far? 6 weeks in, I know it's early. You got Baltimore, as I said, 1-5. Harbaugh, maybe conversations about maybe it's time to move past him. Then there's Buffalo, lost 2 games in a row to New England. Now people are saying, oh, New England stole the division again. They're back. Or is it another team? What do you all think? Who's the biggest concern right now in the NFL?
The Jets. They haven't won yet. They were bad last year, but they weren't that bad.
The concern I have is why the NFL keeps putting them on national TV. If I get up early on Sunday, I understand it, Dave. The New York City, you got to play to the New York City market. But the Jets stink.
Justin Fields is stunk it up as well.
That game would get that game out of my life. I woke up. I got the game on. I say, I'm debating canceling my NFL Plus subscription because of that game. That game was so bad. I was like, I shouldn't have to pay for this. I wanted to call, people don't do phone numbers anymore. You can call customer service and anything. You got to chat bot everything. But I wanted to talk to somebody. I wanted to talk to the manager. Yes, my name was Karen Pay.
Right.
Because that game should have been free. There's no reason I should have paid for that. That game was horrible. NFL, do not force me to watch the Jets ever again. I'm warning you. I'm warning you. That's terrible. What do you got, Dave? Who do you think is the biggest concern in the NFL right now?
Biggest concern? I don't have any. I think there's some coaches that are short-lived, and the question is who's going to be gone first, whether it be Miami's coach or Cleveland's.
That's a good concern. I mean, Brian Callahan was fired yesterday from the Tennessee Titans after starting the season 1-5 with Cam Ward, shiny new Ferrari. He's still losing games. 4 straight number 1 draft pick quarterbacks have gotten their coaches. Well, I don't know if we want to blame it on the quarterbacks, but 4 straight number 1 drafted quarterbacks have had their coaches fired in their first season. Cam Ward is the latest. I think he won't be the last this season, right? You mentioned him, Dave. Stefanski in Cleveland. That seat's getting quite warm as the losses pile up. And Miami, it's already hot and white. It's hot in Miami, so I know them. Them buns is already they toasty.
Peter writes, "How about guideline wires, i.e., the center camera? The Vikings in London kicked the ball, tie up the game against the Browns, and it took a right turn mid-flight because it hit the camera wire."
Yeah, the XFL cameras, right?
Yes.
You know what? I remember on the
and NFL admitted to it this week.
About time they admitted to something.
Do they take the miss off of Will Reichert, our kicker, who asked for, well, then remove the miss from my record. Nope.
Nope. I remember when they first adopted that from the XFL, and I know the conversation was, yeah, the XFL can do it because it's not real football, it's just for fun. But what if someone kicks one of these cameras? What if it affects a game? Look,
It's supposed to be a do-over. It's stadium
Did they
interference.
give you a do-over?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's easy. That's pickup. That's pickup ball rules. That's pickup ball rules. Everybody, interference, do it over.
Right. But it happened twice on that week, which was not last week, but the week before. And where it hit the camera, one was off a Jets. This is the Jets game. Ball hit a helmet on the defender and bounced up and hit the camera behind them. And they didn't do a do-over on that. But it comes from when Jerry Jones built his stadium down in Texas and the big center TV console on the middle, and punters were kicking the bottom of it. They said, nope, it's interference.
Yeah, I hope they come back with a more static rule for that. When they do the owners' meetings and figure this thing out. As these kickers get more and more souped up, more and more. I don't want to speculate. As they get stronger and more inhuman, maybe. We probably want to get ahead of the game and make sure that there's no situation in which a big game is affected by stadium interference because somebody kicked a 4K camera that's 60 yards up off the field. Where can anybody interested in your particular content, hearing your great voice and checking you out, where can all be found at?
We can be found at Vikings First and Skol, SKOL, on YouTube, on your favorite podcast aggregator, on Facebook, on Discord, just about anywhere you want to look. Just type in Vikings First and Skol, and you will find our stuff. And we're more than happy to have you come over and chat. I got a question for you, Pay. What's the longest winning streak in the NFL as of right now? And you're on mute. There's a fine.
That's a fine. Gotta do content better. After the Lions lost, they were on a 4-game losing. They was on a 4-game winning streak. The Buffalo Bills, they've lost 2 in a row. I would think 3 wins in a row would be the standing longest winning streak right now. I wonder who's on a 3-game winning streak.
Patriots, the Steelers.
Are they?
The Denver Donkeys and the Bears.
All 3 of those teams are going to lose this weekend, except for the Bears. The Bears have a second bye week. Foster, what do you guys coming up this week on the Bleachers, the Speakers?
Oh, we have to wait once again for another primetime game. So we probably still do our pregame show on Saturday morning. Just pretty per usual for us. But outside of that, we got me and Coach are jumping right into the off-season Detroit Tigers stuff. I think we're going to do a award show coming up and possibly tease some free agency type stuff. And the Pistons are starting next Tuesday or something like that. So we'll probably do a season preview show before the regular season starts, and then I think we will be hosting the NFC the Central Division show on Monday as well. So a lot going on.
Yeah, the season starts in 6 days. The 21st. It'll be the first. Yeah, that's the first day of the NBA season. Great show, guys. Thanks for everybody that's watching. Make sure you also like and subscribe both of those 2 channels. They do great work, and you can never turn down great content. Dave, on the way out, what do you guys say up there in Viking land?
That's simple. We say, Skol Vikings!
What about, what's it, One Pride or Pride Rock? What's the saying, Foster? in Detroit?
It ain't Pride Rock. One Pride, I guess.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you next week. Bear. Thanks for listening to this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. Don't matter if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watch it on Twitch or YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And to all the guys from Chicago, we say three things. Bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.